Hi friends, welcome back. This is Ethereum. I'm RockyOutcrop. No, I'm putting my fingers up for no goddamn reason. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate you joining me for this episode today. So let's take a look at the charts, and you can see that the price action has so far come up into the A zone. A is short for above, and where it is above the where it was line. We're keeping things really quite nice and simple on the charts. I say that, oh my goodness, yesterday I got sent a thing by Tony. I don't know if you watched the Ethereum videos, where he sent me a screenshot of me saying I keep things nice and simple, and it had all this ridiculously complicated stuff on in the background. Got this moment of insight. It was like, oh my goodness, is that what I'm like? I come across like I'm such an idiot. Look, I say we keep things simple. I try to keep things simple. I try to explain things as we go along. Of course, you know, I do believe the vast majority of you as well, including Tony himself, are all following along totally fine. It's just it must seem a little bit kind of crazy if someone were to look over your shoulder. They see me say, well, yeah, we'll just keep things nice and simple here. And they're looking at all this junk on the charts and stuff like that. It's just there to make it easier. I know it looks distracting. And I'm calling things, you know, with stupid names just to make it easy. Just so this is easy. This is on the Ethereum charts of all the charts, by the way, of all the ones that I look at, this is the one where I've been painting it by numbers for everybody as much as possible in the past. I mean, look at this. This is the line that was important to us. It's right in there at the basis of the Bollinger Bands, and there's a good chat going on the Discord, by the way. Look for the link there. I'll pin a comment with a link to it. Join it. Chat. Join in. The basis line in there, the where it was line, the 21 EMA as well. When we cracked above them, we cracked above two things at once. We actually came up here to the fuzzy line. This is where we've had a bit of inflection in around about that net 242 area. As you can see, the lows today have been 235, the highs have been 245. So the question really comes into this downward sloping part of this trend line. The top area of the Bollinger Band, this is just the 12-hour time frame. I'll stick up towards the daily time frame. The chat I was having before about the median line of the Bollinger Band is still true, but of course, you know, we've not actually made it up towards the top end, and that's where 248 is, and I would consider that to be, you know, another profit taking zone if we do push past this in that immediacy of the fake out zone area here. Bearing in mind as well that the previous highs are coming in at about 247, so should we actually manage to go up there, open and close above there, then there'd be a decent chance of tracing that towards the top side and trying a couple of moves up towards the 250s areas and stuff like that. Good stuff, good times, all that would be a good laugh, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would. Hit that like, subscribe button, all that good stuff. Now on with the rest of the chat, because, you know, that was all of the bullish stuff, and if you just tune out there now, then cool, catch you later. But then if you keep watching past this point, then just bear in mind that of course we have come up towards this point here, and it is another kind of lower high here as part of this phase. If we don't go above that, you know, like, which was higher than this high over here, so, you know, you couldn't say necessarily that we've been in a downward trend on this one since the 1st of June. It's a little bit more sideways than the Bitcoin pricing has been, but at the same time, and yeah, whatever. I'm not going to go into that. But you know, what we really want to see is whether or not, you know, this here kind of W type formation will work out or not. This has got this lower middle area of the W. So if we come up towards these peaks again, where we've got, you know, it's going to be however many times that you hit this, you know, like however many times coming up towards this area, could we then move towards the top side thereafter? And of course we could, and we could kind of look at it quite simply like that, and say that we could be going up towards where we've got this serrated line at. No coincidence that this came up. I mean, I didn't put that on there, and that's dropped it down in 2 seconds flat. I didn't actually know that this would line up like that, but there you go. It just lined up perfectly at that 278 area. That could be your target for that one if that's how you're looking at things. Of course, you don't necessarily need to. I'm not going to really say, I'm not going to make an argument that there's a measured move to be had off the back of this. I think there's various angles that you could easily take on it. For instance, you could be looking at this since the 24th of June, and you could say, therefore, then over towards this side, we've got an ascending triangle on the go, which would obviously be a bullish type pattern. And if you were to take that down there and measure where the bullish, where it could be coming from, if you're to use this as your low and on the triangle, then it'd be down towards about that area there, and then you could stick it up there, and so you could say, look, you know, if we go up past the W area, then it's taken up towards, you know, that, and then, you know, if you're to then actually sort of take it down to the sort of the realistic levels, then you can remember looking over to the left as well that there's been an inflection in around those 260s areas too. So you'd expect profit taking to happen in around there. Of course you would. So what have we got then in the downward time frame thing? I don't have any background music on in this episode. I really should have done, because that was fun. That was fun AF. It was pure faff. FAF, fun AF in the Bitcoin video to have that background music on. What are we looking at overall? Well, this really kind of sums it up for us just quite neatly. If we say above the 21 moving average here on the 1 hour time frame, if you're looking at this from a short-sighted point of view and trading it like the like crazy style, then of course, then that's looking pretty good, right? But I'd also be looking towards these sort of 4 or 5 other targets on the way down towards this area of the where it was line, and kind of considering the 238 to be the bottom of the range. Moving past that area, which you could obviously do on wicks, I'd still be looking then if it kind of close of a body down here below 235, then things are kind of shaping up slightly differently. Bear in mind that we've got bearish divergence here across the board on the top of this one, so I wouldn't be surprised if we did see some natural, at the very least, a pullback naturally happening down towards that 238 area, or indeed if we were to then actually mishmash on down past that point. But we'll see that, we'll cross that bridge when we come tit. So yes, looking at things, well, basically we covered it all yesterday, we covered it all today again. That's what we're looking at. If we see these things moving beyond the zones that I've talked about, look at them and see if they've got yet more bearish divergence and whatnot piling up on top. Does that extend up towards the 4 hour time frame? Well, you couldn't really, you're looking between these 2 points here, and you say there isn't the bearish divergence on that, if that's what you're looking at. And indeed, if you're looking over to the left and just saying this is a downward trend because we never made it up higher than the 245 zone in terms of closes, and we sank on back down the way, then we went past those previous lows that we were talking about on the lower down time frames. The way you would tie that together is by saying, well, let's remember, lest we forget that we're actually in a downward trend here on the larger time frame of the 4 hour. Woo! And that this would then work out as being hidden bearish divergence as part of a downward trend, and then you'd be obviously looking down towards that 231 area and asking, will we go down the way or not? We have sort of ascending, broadening style wedge effort here on the RSI and the DMI down below, and kind of the stochastics as well. So that's just 2 trend lines essentially. All it is 2 trend lines. I don't want to talk about it, the concept. Pardon me. Don't want to talk about the concept of the pattern itself. In this episode, I'd rather just point out that you've got 2 trend lines, and that moving past either of them will have its own significance and bear its own weight for the conversation, rather than necessarily trying to pin a pattern together out of it. Although you could, I just can't be bothered really going into it in detail right now, because that's all we need to look at. That's everything. We've done it all. Thanks very much for tuning in. I've been RockyOutcrop. I really do appreciate you joining me here today for this video. And if you want to hit that subscribe, like button, all that rest of it, and leave me a comment down below, then I'll certainly read it and I'll definitely get back to you. And I really do appreciate you watching as far as you have done. And if you hit the Discord button, you can join in with the chat. We've got some good stuff on the go. Always do in the Discord. It is great. It's very good. And if you're already in there and you're one of my friends already, well then, hey, just want to say I appreciate you. Catch you next time. I'm moving on to Chainlink.